Welcome to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast, where you get straightforward, no-nonsense ideas on leadership and growth, both personally and professionally. It's brought to you by the Chief Coaching Officer of the Peak Performance Group. He's also a brilliant and successful serial entrepreneur. He's a two-time author. He's a certified executive coach. He's a sales genius. He's bald.
Hey now.
And he's your host of the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. Buckle your chin strap. Here's your host, Coach Rick Colster.
Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Coach Rick with the Bald Truth. You are here today. It is January 1st. Holy smokes. We made it through 2020, folks. Amazing. Remember, subscribe and like. We're available on iTunes and Spotify, iHeart, YouTube video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe so you get every episode of the 2020 edition of the Bald Truth, folks. Well, today, it's a new year. Hell. I promised it would be a big one. I told you all it was going to be a big 2021, and we are starting a new year. And for many, that's probably a pretty good feeling because 2020 has been, well, to say the least challenging, to say the worst, crappy. I'm telling you, it's been a wild year, a wild ride for everybody. So today we're starting a new year, and some even say it's a new decade. I'm not sure. January 1st, 2021. And, you know, as we start the new year every year, it's like people think of it as a fresh start, a clean slate, and time to set those scary resolutions. So today we're going to chat about those a little bit, talk about resolutions, talk about the thing I think everyone's worried about the most, our health. Think about that. But really, what happened from yesterday to today? What happened? What changed? Besides, maybe you stayed up a little late, had a couple too many cocktails, might have kissed your partner. Nothing's changed, folks. It's just another day. But that's why we're here today, is to keep that in mind, to share with you how health and fitness is a continual thing, not something you jump into on January 1st. And yeah, well, by all accounts and by all surveys that I've ever heard, people usually stop by January 21st. And our guest today is an expert in that, and he's going to share that with us. You know what? We're talking health and goals. With me today is Clint Fuqay, the health engineer. For the past 25 years, this guy has been his life living and studying health, wellness, fitness as a student, instructor, and a corporate executive. I'm going to tell you what, he's just a normal guy to me. I've met him. We've gotten to know each other. And he's, to me, is just a normal guy. But he's much more than that because he's got a show on personal health and a book series on personal health care reform. This guy knows his stuff, folks. I'm telling you what. One of the things I love about Clint is his take on life. That is our own personal responsibility, and it is our own personal responsibility to live a healthy life. It's your responsibility, and I love that because that's what it's about. If you want to live a healthy life for yourself, your family, and the future, you got to step up and accept responsibility. And that's the way Clint lives his life. This guy is shredded. He works out, he eats right, and he helps people do all that. I know that. Today, we welcome my friend Clint, the health engineer, to the Bald Truth. Welcome to the Bald Truth, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for bringing me on. I'm going to give some of the wild, hairy truth because my hair's all over the place today.
Hey, that's what happens.
We've had rain, we've had storms. It's humid here, so it goes nuts. So,
well, you know, now, folks, if you're listening, he's got a beautiful head of hair here. He's got a little silver in it. Good looking guy. But I'll tell you what, it has been raining here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And for the first time, I think, weren't we talking pre-show, this is the most rain we've had in a year ever?
For this year, 2020, yeah. 2020 has been the entire year. We've had a monumental amount of rain.
It's crazy. And it just seems like didn't all come at one time, but it kind of spaced itself across the year. As I remember in the past, we've had floods, the lakes have flooded, but they've always been high all the year, but never super flooded. But we've still had boatload of rain.
Yeah.
So it messes with his hair.
Yeah, it does. It really does. But we had almost perfect rain this year. It was spaced out. We got some rain. It cooled it off, cools us off a little bit, goes back to warm. We get some rain, cools us off, just enough to keep everything green and pretty.
Well, I think that's the blessing God gave us because you know what? this whole COVID thing has got everybody uproared, and health is on the forefront of everybody's mind. You got to know, you know, health is something we all need to be paying attention to, especially now with COVID. We got a new vaccine that's coming out. It's supposed to help. I don't know. You know, everyone has their opinions.
Actually,
Six of them.
There'll be seven vaccines. Yeah.
So okay, I don't know that much about it, and you apparently are paying attention to it because of your business.
Oh yeah.
How do you know which of the seven is going to work? Because they're all different. None of them are the same.
Yeah.
How do you know?
The first two are the brand new RNA vaccines. I personally, this is my own personal take on this. It's Jurassic Park science, messing with the messenger.
Great.
So it really is, because if anybody's ever studied GMO foods and the process of creating GMOs, it's the same process. You introduce this RNA strand. This is why you can spray all the chemicals on them and they don't die. It's because you're chemically creating them to where they can withstand that, the exposure to all those chemicals. But the other problem is when we do that, you make them inert. Okay, they have no pollen, they can't reproduce anymore.
Yeah.
So every year you have to plant brand new stuff. Okay, brand new crops every year. There's no cross pollination, any of that other stuff. There's some micronutrient differences. There's a lot of other things that happen. So I'm looking at these going, okay, this is what happens with GMO foods. We're now playing around with this process with us internally.
Well, yeah. Wait a minute now. You said, there's no pollen. I mean, what's that going to do for, let's call it, our pollen as human beings if we can't reproduce? I mean, that's a scary thought.
That's it. They don't know. So there's actually, whenever you look at the packets, okay, for the first 28 days after the first dose and the second dose, if you're doing the 2-dose on the RNAs, they specifically are saying, do not procreate, do not get pregnant with this time period, because we don't know what's going to happen for that month.
Well, I'm okay. I'm old. I don't want any more kids. God, no.
Yeah. So my point on this is, if somebody decides they want to get the vaccine, okay, I personally am not a vaccine guy. I'm not. Because I deal with things on the natural side, making sure that your immune system is doing what it's supposed to do, right? And that's what vaccines do, is they help make sure that your immune system is doing what it's supposed to do, because you're not taking care of yourself. So I see them as like it's a safety net that you will, but the problem with safety nets is they got a lot of holes in them. Okay, if you fall through that hole, well, no good for you. Or if there's a tear, if there's a rip.
Sure.
But so anybody that's like over the age of 45, they're not going to have kids anymore or anything like that. If you want to play around with the RNA vaccines, you think it's something that you want to do, then go for it, because, well, you don't have to worry about you having kids. You don't have to worry about your kids having kids. You don't have to worry about the multi-generational stuff that we don't know is going to happen, because none of that study has been done yet. Okay.
I know. And that's a scary thing. I've got kids and grandkids.
Yeah. So you look at that, you've got the others that are coming out. They're just the regular adjuvant vaccines made, normal vaccine process, right? So the one from AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and a few others, it's like the normal flu vaccine. Okay. They take the dead virus, they pop it into an egg, antibodies are produced, some dead viral components produced, they draw it back out, they create the shots, pop it in, bam, done, right? So from that standpoint, you're getting it. Those are supposed to be like 85 to 90% effective, which for a vaccine is astronomically high. Most vaccines, you're lucky if you hit 60% on any flu vaccine ever. Okay. For this thing, it's a brand new virus that we've never seen before, and they're producing vaccines that are 85 to 95 to 99% effective. Me personally, I question that a little bit, because, well, it's a brand new thing. We've had a year, not even a year, actually 6 months for creating these things, and then starting to put them out there and do all the testing, when usually it takes about 5 years. Now, there's a lot of red tape in those 5 years. That's what Operation Warp Speed was done for, is to take a lot of that red tape, get rid of it, and take that 5 years and turn it into like a 1-year process.
And they did it.
Yeah, it turned into 6 months. However, Moderna, this is the first thing they've ever produced. They're a brand new company. They've never made anything. They've never manufactured anything before. This is their first thing they've manufactured, and they're created specifically to make an RNA vaccine. So I look at this, I'm like, there's too many things put together too nicely with this.
Yeah. Hey, I agree with you 100%. I'm not a big vaccine guy, and I probably won't be getting it because I try to stay healthy. And that's what we want to talk about is, so what can you do if you're kind of cautious, you're kind of concerned, like you have a question or 100 about this damn vaccine. What can you do? I mean,
Well,
how can
you
you stay healthy?
you,
What
you do you do
things can people do on a day-to-day basis to help them if they happen to get sick,
yeah
where
you,
they're going to recover quicker?
yeah you do what you're supposed to do, which is you take care of yourself. You do exercise daily of some sort. Okay, movement. Exercise. People get thrown up by exercise, so some sort of movement every day, right? Whether you're walking or you're doing some tai chi, or doing some yoga, or you're going to the gun range and playing around and running around with guns, having fun, like you do. Um,
That's my secret.
uh, do some DDP yoga, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
pick your thing, go dancing, whatever it is, go lift some heavy weights. I like to lift heavy weights. That's my thing. Um, go ride a bike, whatever the thing is for you. That figure out what you need to eat from a dietary standpoint. Okay. That takes a little bit of work. That takes some genetic testing. That takes some other testing of what you're allergic to and all that other stuff you really want to know. Um, outside of that, this stuff right here, drinking some water will do more for you than anything else, and getting some sleep. So
Well,
getting
that's
that
it.
8 hours of
Water.
sleep, 8 hours of sleep, and drinking at least one liter per 100 pounds of body weight a day minimum. You do that, that's going to alleviate a lot of issues. And then, of course, making sure you have your fruits and veggies, uh, vitamins. Vitamins need to be very specific to you as far as what you need. Um, but it's diving into yourself and figuring out what you need for essentially survival. And once you get past what do I need for survival, then it's okay, what do I need to elevate and what do I need to thrive?
Hmm.
There's like 3 different levels. First, you got to figure out what you need for survival. If you don't have that, at least that, then
Okay, tell me about that. What you said, survival. What does that mean? I mean, there are people that are, these preppers, and they've got 3 months worth of
no, no, no,
food, and
not that kind of survival.
okay,
I'm,
okay,
I'm talking about just subsistence for you to be able to live. Okay,
okay,
to be just marginally healthy, moderately healthy. What's the baseline I've got to do to where I can get up out of bed, go to work, live my life, and not have to go see the doctor and not be on medications? What is this survival thing? What's my baseline for survival through life?
okay.
Which is what's the least amount I can do for movement? What's the least amount I can do for hydration? What's the least amount I can do for all these things? So it's like, okay, here's my bottom. Here's my base. If I go below this, I'm trash. I'm gonna get sick. I'm gonna have doctor's appointments. I'm gonna be wasting tons of money on medications. Don't do that.
Okay.
I mean, certain people need to have medications for genetic factors, things like that, but we're talking like 1% there. Outside of that 1% that have these genetic needs for stuff, then you got everybody else that's just, eating when they're not supposed to. And well, oh, now I've got all these, diseases or diseases that you've
Yeah.
created. So, okay, how do you create ease? You get rid of all these things that are causing the dis-ease in your life. So you get rid of those, you find the things that create ease. And once you hit ease, well, now you can survive. Okay. You can survive through life. After that, you say, okay, I'm surviving. It's kind of like, okay, how much money do you need to make to survive?
Okay, that makes sense. So if you're
Same
talking
thing.
about what do I need to pay my bills so they don't throw me out of my house kind of
Yeah.
thing,
That's survival.
that's
Okay.
your baseline. That's survival.
You're
Okay,
living
makes
month
sense.
to month. Okay. That's your survival. You figure that out, you're good. After that, it's like, okay, what do I need to do to increase that? Maybe I want to buy a house. Maybe I want a better car. Maybe I'd like to buy new clothes, better food, right? Okay, so what do you need? What effort do you need to put forth for that? Same thing in the exercise and dietary arenas. And then you got, hey, you know what? I'd like to get up on stage one day. I'd like to get up on stage one day is like, I'd like to buy my own plane. What do I need to do?
Okay.
Those are like the levels there. Or I want to go run, I want to go be in the Olympics, or I want to not just go run a marathon, I want to place in like the top 100, right? Or the top 10.
Sure.
Okay, those are the mentality of I want to go, I want my own yacht, I want my own plane, I want my own building, I want my last name's gonna be Trump, and I'm gonna have T's on everything.
And
Okay.
that makes a ton of sense because right now at where I'm at in my stage in my life stage, I want to look good and feel good. That's kind of my big goal. I want to look good. I want to feel good. I want my wife to go, wow, he looks good.
Yeah.
But 30 years ago, I was a competitive triathlete, and I wanted to be at the peak. And I was at the peak for the amateur set. I never went pro. But I was always in the top 10% of every race that I did, won a couple in my age category and my weight category because I'm a bigger guy. But I was always in the top 10%, especially when they brought the pros in for some of the pro races that I did, where they had amateurs and pros. I always, ranked in the, of 2,000 people, I was in the top 200.
Wow.
So I was running at peak at that point. It was 30 years ago or more, probably more than 30 years ago. I was in my 20s. So I get that. So now, so what are the things you do? It's fuel, it's water, it's exercise. I mean, I get that. What can people do? Everyday guys, someone listening to the show right now, what are some key things that they need to be paying attention to?
Number one, sleep. Pay attention to your sleep.
Okay, sleep.
Because that honestly is the easiest thing to regulate for yourself for the most part, which is getting that 8 hours. Most everybody needs 8 hours of sleep. Okay. And it's putting yourself on a schedule and shutting stuff off at night so you can do it. That means not staying up watching Netflix. Or if you're already going to do that, if you have to have something going to put you to sleep, play some music. Okay. You've got your phone, throw on some music, throw on a
Sure.
podcast. Okay. Something that's going to calm your nerves. That's not going to get you up. It's actually going to bring you down, right?
I hope the podcast doesn't put people to sleep.
Yeah,
Come on
not
now.
this podcast. There's meditation podcasts stuff like that out there.
Sure.
So find that thing, or if you just have to watch TV to go to bed, well, put your blue light filter on this thing, right? This way, it knocks out all the blue light on it. Throw your Netflix on there, and let it lull you to sleep.
You know what I like? I use like rain sounds and stuff. I've got, got all the electronic gadgets and gizmos and crap here. I just say, that lady's name that we don't want to say because she'll probably answer us right now. Say, hey, put on some rain sounds. Then it's just nice. It feels like it's rain. I don't have to pee or anything. At least sometimes in the middle of the night I do, but that helps put me to sleep. I love that. And I have to sleep in a dark room, like blackout room.
Oh yeah, me too. I wear a face cover.
Oh wow.
You can't see anything, right? So, but yeah, start with that. Start with sleep, because once you start getting sleep under control and you get to where you're starting having good sleep every night, everything else gets better because you wake up more refreshed, which means you're not going to go for the sugary foods in the morning because you're not going to need them. You're not going to be overdosing on caffeine. I don't have a problem with caffeine. I love coffee and tea. But if you're drinking like 6 cups a day, and you're drinking them and you're putting them back and there's like no effect. There's an issue.
Yeah, a couple cups just to get the motor running for me.
Essentially, if that first cup doesn't give you some kick, then there's a sleep issue that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Or rest. So getting that done first helps out because it's going to alleviate a lot of stress. It's going to help you go through the day a lot easier, a lot more efficiently. It's going to keep you from having cheat meals and doing bad stuff dietarily, because every time you miss an hour of sleep, okay, your productivity the next day drops by almost 20%. Your need for calories goes up 10 to 15%.
No way.
Because all your little mechanics have been working on everything all night, or they're supposed to be working on stuff all night, they haven't been able to get their job done. So you take your car, you pull out of the garage, and you got mechanics work on your car while you're driving down the highway. That's you during the day whenever you haven't had sleep.
That makes sense.
Those poor mechanics have to work on your car while you're driving. And so to do that, it takes a lot of extra fuel for them to hold on and do stuff.
So so could that be one of the key pieces in people, first of the year, everybody goes, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, 20 pounds, 10 pounds, I want to
sleep it off.
Sleep it off. So
sleep it off.
Get some sleep and it'll help you lose weight.
Because if you can't sleep, and this is a cool little trick from the bodybuilders, right? one of the reasons they get so lean, there's a lot of reasons they get lean, but their rest and sleep patterns have to be so dialed in, because if you're not sleeping, you're not resting, cortisol level goes up. Once cortisol levels go up, it is impossible to lose fat. It doesn't happen because your body's wanting to hold on to it. It's protective.
Okay, that's
You're
true.
not
I get
resting.
that.
You're not resting. You've got stress on you, so it needs this thing there that it can feed off of, for just in case, right? Just in case there's a famine, just in case, because you're under stress. Your body's under stress. It's going to hold on to extra fat because all it knows is it's under stress. It doesn't know why. It just knows it needs to preserve itself.
Okay, so thinking about mindset now, when you say stress, stress could be lack of sleep, but what about stress from work, family? And so mindset there's got to be something. What are some ideas or tactics someone can use to get the right mindset to protect them from that stress?
Yeah. Well, so this year has pushed all that to the forefront. It really has.
No shit.
People have been forced to deal with stuff that they have never had to deal with. They've been pushing it off, and you can't whenever you're working from home and your brand new office mates are your family. And you can't push it off anymore because you can't go to work to escape. You can't say, well, I'm going to put a few more hours in the office. I'm going to work late.
And I built a home office, home studio, because for this whole COVID thing during COVID. Now, trust me, we've had a lot of projects. I feel like I'm living with Chip and Joanna someplace, right? I got more shiplap on the walls than I know what to do with now. But it's been the whole house has been repainted. My wife is amazing decorator. I got to tell you that she's done an amazing job. But oh my word, we have new paint on every damn wall.
Oh yeah,
because we have the time.
too. Yeah, that's happened too. There's been more home remodeling projects going on than ever before.
Oh yeah,
Lowe's and Home Depot, thank everybody for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at their market valuations right now. But so yeah, but people had to deal with stresses they've never had to deal with before, which is one, working from home, because most people don't do that and don't know how to do that, or having the family around, or they've got to spend more time with the family that they're not used to. Maybe you got two people that travel all the time. Now they're stuck home together. They're having to deal with issues they had to. So that has created. There's two things we've had more of this year than probably end of the year. The year that we're going to look at: more babies and more divorces.
I can see that.
We're gonna have a bunch of little covineals running around next year.
Covineals. Is that what we're going to call them?
That's what we're gonna call them. They're all gonna be covineals, right?
The covineals.
Yeah. You kids were born during COVID. Oh,
you were born in 20 or 21. God, you're a covineal.
Yep. And divorce rate.
Yeah.
The roof this year, because people have either had to come to terms with things and deal with them, or completely just break it off. So you've had all that stuff going on the background of this. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about what's going on with suicide rates and alcohol addiction, drug abuse, all that other stuff. That's why we've got the ring on all the time.
Got one myself.
Yep. Yeah. So those are like the hidden figures that nobody wants to look at or talk about. And if you dare bring those up, you just get shut down automatically. Because you just don't care about this COVID thing. I do, but I care about all this other stuff that's happening that y'all don't want to deal with.
This is just a byproduct of this one disease is created so many other challenges, I think.
Yeah. So, but back to the whole stress thing. One, find somebody to talk to. Find a counselor. We both know Michael Harris. He does hypnosis. He's got programs for that. I work with him one-on-one and send people to him all the time. Okay. And it's beautiful because it helps rewire all this stuff back here that's messing with you and messing with everything else around you. It's all this stuff that you either know about or don't know about that happened in your past that you haven't dealt with, that until you deal with it, you can't deal with anything else.
Okay.
So it's getting through that, and then you can deal with all the other stuff that's going on externally. It's the whole internal thing. Kind of like getting healthy. You got to start digging in to find out what you need to do to get healthy, because it's a little bit different for everybody. That's why I started the whole personal healthcare reform thing, because it's personal. It's not a government program. It's not a workout program built for everybody. It is, what specifically do you need to address from your past that needs to be rectified first? What's your plan going forward? Meaning, what do you want to do in life? figure that out.
Yep.
Because if you figure that out, well, that workout program doesn't matter. You might lose 20 pounds, great, but you're going to pop 30 back on because you had no direction after that. You had this.
That makes a ton of sense. Last year, this time, now I've got bad knees, and I had knee surgery last year, and now it's almost 2 years ago now. But in 19, I had knee surgery, so it took a while to recover.
Yeah.
And so I'm back, and I said, my wife and I said, well, let's see if we want to walk a little bit together, so we can spend a little time. That's our time together. We walk, and of course, then COVID comes in March. So a couple months, we started walking a little bit here and there. We measured it up. We figured out we've walked 1,300 miles this year.
Oof.
Between the two of us. It's about a 4 mile, a little more than a 4 mile walk to where we normally walk to the end of the park and back. But I lost 20 pounds just by walking. The first 2 months, I couldn't do 2 miles. I was sucked. Again, former competitive triathlete, college athlete. And here I am 2 miles walking, and I'm like, I'm winded. We turn around. Now, 4 miles, let's go. Let's hump the pace. And we check our little, eye watches and go, oh, what's the pace? A little slow today, honey. Oh, let's pick it up. And we pick it up. I can't pound out the miles like I used to running because of just the sheer pain and just the pounding. So I walk, it's 13-minute miles, 12 and a half, 13-minute miles, which is a pretty good clip for a walk. And I'm burning calories. And tell you what, it meant every single day. And we get out every single day and do it.
Yeah. And also your stress levels plummet.
Oh, yeah. That. And it allowed us as a couple, and I think the mindset thing, it allowed us as a couple to get to know each other. And we talk, and we don't have to talk the whole way. That's just not how it is. Sometimes it's just quiet that your partner's standing there next to you and something comes up and you talk. So that communication has now happened. She used to travel. I used to travel. So I think it's really made, if you've done it right and really put your head down to it for a couple things. Fitness was a big one for us this year. She wanted to lose a little bit. We saw pictures of us a year ago when we went to Napa, and we both went, "Ooh, gosh, that's not pretty." It was a fun trip, but Lord, I didn't know I'd look like that. But 20 pounds later, I feel a lot better. I'm walking faster. My head's clear. And, so if you're listening, folks, find yourself something consistent you can do. I think that's the message, is find something consistent that you can do that for your mind, for your health, all of that. So, I also do, you mentioned Ddp Yoga. You mentioned it. I'm picking up on that again. I was doing it partly, but now I'm picking up pretty regular. It helps when the founder challenges you personally, calls you out, like, holy smokes. Yeah.
I'm sure he has too.
Oh, he does on a regular basis. I'll tell you what. So for you, yoga, you like strength training and pushing weights. That's kind of where you fall in a fitness thing. So what if someone doesn't want to push weights?
Well, it comes down to what's needed for that person. There are people out there that don't need to lift heavy. Okay. I actually, quite literally, I have to lift heavy or else my body falls apart.
Okay.
So I got diagnosed with osteopenia way back when I was like 21. Okay. The doctors back then told me, look, if you ever cut back on what you're doing, your body quite literally will fall apart.
Wow.
And, I was doing, 4 plates aside, doing sets and reps with 400 pounds on squats. And, I weigh 145 pounds, right?
I know you're not a monster. You're not I'm Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah. So, I have to lift considerable amounts more than my body weight just to keep my bones healthy and in shape and keep my body going. So like this shutdown thing, when I was doing, because I did a 60-day in-home workout series, helped. I had got like 1,000 pounds of bands around here as well. That helped, but it was nothing like having the actual real weight to move and having pressure on me. Because I hurt more after that 2-month stint than I have hurt in my life.
Wow.
Everything I hurt. Just some real conversation for everybody out there. So getting back in the gym is actually a life-saving thing for me. But for the people, some people are made more for yoga. Some people enjoy yoga more, or they want dance, or they want to do spin classes, or they'll want to do a different type of workout, whether it's just, most of my stuff is fast intense anyway. But it's figuring figuring out the thing that you like to do, that you'll be consistent doing, okay, that you're made for. There's a genetic component to that too. Basically, you'll kind of gravitate whatever you're made for. Do that for like 80% of it, and then 20% of the time, play around with everything else. This way, it gives you another outlet, gives you something else to do. Helps
Sure.
out the mental piece of that too, and it'll help improve what you're doing already. So
Yeah.
it's that, have a plan, sit down with somebody like me that can sit down and help craft a plan for you and say, look, here's what you need, here's what you want to do in your life, here's your lifetime goals. And if you don't have those, figure out what those things are first before you ever get into a workout program, because otherwise you're just going to ruin yourself getting into a program and doing this like 30-day thing, or everybody's gonna be doing 75 hard this year apparently, and that can wreck somebody if they're not ready for it. I mean, it's a cool program. I like the mental aspect of 75 hard and what they have built into it. But if your body's not ready for it and you're not ready for it and you don't have a trajectory out of that, what are you going to do after day 75? If you don't have a plan for after that, don't start into it yet. Figure out.
Okay, makes sense.
For the next year, the next 5 years, next 10 years, what's your big life goal? Once you figure that out, then all this other stuff is so much easier because it fits into that plan. It's a thing that I've got to do this to accomplish this thing I want to do out here.
All right. So that leads me to a cool question for you. Says you can help somebody design a program. I mean, I'm a professional coach. I help people design a mental program to achieve their goals. We talk about goals, and so how can people get a hold of you? And would you, or number one, would you do that for someone, say, that might be in, who knows, another country, another city?
We have these things here. This
I know,
helps.
exactly. So you can.
Yeah.
So how would someone get a hold of you if you're listening or you're watching on YouTube? How can people get a hold of you so you can design them the program they need?
So the easiest way, go to my website. It's theclintfuqua.com, TheClintFuqua. The is actually the health engineer. So it's capital THE. A lot of branding built into that. But you go on there, you can look through everything. My show's on there. I've got tons of articles on there as well, YouTube videos. I've got a contact page. Just send me a contact. What do you want to do? What your plans are, goals, all that stuff. I've got sheets for that too before we even work together. A lot of paperwork before we even sit down. And if you're here in Dallas, great. If you're not in Dallas, well, we can figure all those things out. Before I do like an exercise program, I like to do some hands-on stuff. But if we can't do that, we'll figure that out too.
Okay.
But so yeah, it's most of this is kind of the planning. Of course, I've got the book. If somebody works with me, they get the book for free. So that's a nice little added bonus.
Okay. So what's the title of the book?
So the book is Personal Healthcare Reform.
Okay.
And it's actually 2 parts. It's a book and a workbook. So it technically is a work through it book, because this thing is technically it will take you 12 weeks. It'll take you 12 weeks to get through the entire book if you do it properly.
Mhm.
Bare minimum 12 weeks. Technically, it's almost a 1-year process.
That's a good thing. Something to keep people on track.
I wrote this book as a 1-year process because the first 4 chapters of it is all about this thing and figuring out what's going on up here, what you want to do with yourself.
So what's going on in your head for those that are listening?
Yeah. And then gets into body. So we start looking at what is exercise, what is diet, what are these things, what do they mean to you, what are they really? How do you need to look at these from a health perspective, and not just getting a 6-pack? Because you get a 6-pack, you drink a 6-pack, both are gone, right? Now you're depressed and hungover. But so bad joke, funny joke, but it works, right? So we go through all that before we even get to the exercise part, and then the exercise is a dedicated 12 weeks of that, and a lot of writing, a lot of journaling with that, because this way you get to know yourself in this process, and it's a kind of a self-improvement project. And
that's great.
And then the end goal of that is, now that you've done this, continue repeating it and figure out how you can help other people do it.
Okay, good. So can they get this on Amazon, or can they have to buy it from your website?
Yeah, they can get it on my website or Amazon, either one.
All right. Title of the book again is, so people who are listening, they get it?
It is Personal Healthcare Reform.
Okay, Personal Healthcare Reform. You can get it on Amazon or go to Clint Fuquay. So I'll get that right. .com.
Yeah, the Clint Fuquay.
TheClintFuquay.com.
Yeah.
And you can get it there. You want to get in touch with Clint, give him a holler. Go to his website, get his book. I mean, this guy's a master. I got to tell you, he is a freaking master at this. So, folks, you got the healthcare expert here on the Bald Truth today. So I know you're busy. I know you want to get back some clients, but I have a couple questions for you right here.
All right.
So these are what I call the Coach Rick Bald Truth questions. So here it goes. This is going to figure out who you are. We know what you do. Now we want to know who you are.
All right.
You got to hold a dinner party. You get to hold a dinner party for 6 people. Yourself was included, so you're in that 6. And you can invite anybody in all of history, alive or dead. What 5 people do you invite?
Man, can you give me a week to figure this one out?
Nope.
Nope. Whew, man. So first off, my dad's going to be there because my dad he's great. He's life of the party, right? Ooh. I always hate this question because there's so many people I'd like to have there at the table. Never think of the right people at the time either. I'll answer this all as soon as we get done. I'm like, you know who else I would have wanted there? Man, can we skip to the next one and come back to this and let me process.
All right, we'll come to the next one. I usually don't let people off the hook. Just like you got to do that rep. I don't care. You got to do the rep before we do the next exercise. But for you, this one time since the first of the year, I'll make an exception. No more though. Okay, an article's being written about you after you've passed. You're gone. What's the title?
Man, that's a deep question.
It's like those mechanics are working on your car when you're driving down the road, right?
I'm a thinker, so he helped people become independent.
Okay, awesome. So now what do you do each morning to set yourself up for success? Number 3.
Well, first off, I wake up. That helps.
Well, that always helps.
That helps. So first thing I do, I wake up. I know you're not supposed to do this, but I like going back on Facebook and look at the memories.
Okay, that's always good. I'm good with that.
So it's a bit of introspection of what happened for like the past 10 years on this day. And so I go through that. I look through the memories. I look at, everybody that's involved in those. I'll often share some of those, and I'll throw a thought out there for the day. I'll get back to doing more of the positive thought stuff instead of the what's going on in the world thoughts I've been posting lately. But I'll do that because it helps me set up the day, because first thing I've done is I've reviewed past history, and I've put something out there positive for the world to help them do better that day.
Excellent.
And so I do that, and then I can get up and get after my day, because I've already done something good outwardly.
Start the day with something positive. So now, who's your dinner party? There's your time. Now you're up.
Whew, okay, dinner party.
Got your dad.
Stan Lee. I would love to have Stan Lee there.
Okay.
Stan Lee would be a great one. Tesla would be interesting. Nikola Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
For some introspection with that one. Shakespeare.
Okay.
Shakespeare would be fun, just because of what he's done with written word and what he's done that people don't realize he's done for all of eternity with his works.
That's 4. You got one more.
Yeah. Let's throw George Washington in there.
Okay.
Let's throw George Washington. No. I take it back. Benjamin Franklin.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Good ones. All good.
That'd be a fun little cadre right there.
I love this question because it always tells us who we are, what we're interested in, things we don't know. We know all about you're the health engineer. We get all that. You know how to get people focused, get them healthy, keep them moving, taking personal responsibility. But this tells us a little bit about who you are. And folks, this is an interesting guy. You can tell he's smart. He knows how to keep you healthy, but he also has a lot of other interests as well. So reach out to Clint. Go to clintfuquay.com. Get his book. Connect with this guy. You want to put a fitness program together, a health program together, this guy can do it for you. Get out there, check him out, get his book on Amazon, and just start your life, folks. Take control of your life and take personal responsibility for your life. You know, Clint, hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Welcome to the Bald Truth. And we look forward to running into you around town. But so have a great New Year's, and I'll see you around. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, you too. Thanks for having me on.
You got it, folks. I'm Coach Rick, and that's the Bald Truth.
You've been listening to The Bald Truth with Coach Rick of the Peak Performance Group, the company that helps people and organizations reach their potential. If you're looking for a way to grow your organization, whether it's sales or strategic direction, the Peak Performance Group coaches can help you grow with their proven business acceleration process. Call them at 817-748-7425 or go to mypotentialplus.com and they'll connect you with the right coach for you. And remember to subscribe and like below. The Bald Truth Leadership Podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, and YouTube video. Hit like and subscribe to get every episode. Thanks for listening to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. And until next time, roll up your sleeves and get to work, and you can make things happen.
I'm Coach Rick, and that's the Bald Truth.